Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. So I'm coming back with the Christmas Blockbuster. I'm working my way through some of the kits now, and I started last time with the Festive Joy collection. This is the Twas the Night set, so you can buy all of them separately, all of these sets, if you really like them at Hunkydory Crafts. So we've got one large topper, one sort of medium topper. We've got two verses of Twas the Night Before Christmas on these toppers. Ho ho ho, Merry Christmas, have you been naughty or nice? Some gifts on a small topper there, small Santa topper there, and for someone special. So this one is perfect for smaller cards. And then we've got our Father Christmas on the foiled cardstock. And then on the printed, we've got these sort of tree ornaments going down the side as a border. Okay, so let's get straight into my first card. So I've got a piece of 300 GSM white cardstock, and this is 6 by 12, but I am going to trim it down to make a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 size card. I know it is something that people have been asking me for, so and I did think this card would be perfect for that. Just double checking myself. So I'm just cutting this to 4 1/4 by 11, and that one will go in my bit box, and the smaller piece I'm going to pop away. Now I'll pop that away for a second. What I want to do is just turn this into a gatefold going a long way, I think. I'll just double check. Yeah, that is the plan. So 5 1/2, so I've got 4 1/4 down the length, 5 1/2 in half is 2 3/4. Oops. Let's get that on the right line. What's going on? I think I need a new tool. And then 2 3/4. I'm going to do just where I skipped out and I can just see it. Just going to pop that back in. It's not going to make much of a difference because you're not going to see it once it's decorated and everything. But let's just bring those over. Burnish those down. Oops. And we've got our little sweet gatefold. So that's going to be our card shape or size. So I have got, I did grab a piece of, oh that's not it, but it will work. Piece of gold mirror card. And I'm going to start by doing the back piece first. That's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off the 4 1/4 and the same off the 5 1/2. Now I might have to trim this a little more so you can see my mug in it, but we will see how we go. And then if I trim these to 4 and so that's already 4 1/8, and then this needs to be 2 3/4 minus that 1/8 or 2 notches, and then the same again on there, and those should fit quite nicely onto there. And then I'm going to take the foiled cardstock. I'm going to start by cutting that at 5 1/4. Yep, 5 1/4. Just giving myself a moment to think there. And then I'm going to take this piece with the corner and I'm going to cut that to 4 inches. Let's just double check. Pretty sure that's going to be right. Yeah, it is. And then this piece here needs to be 4 inches in length, and then it needs to be 2 3/4 minus 4 notches, or 1/4 of an inch, so it's going to be 2 1/2. Again, you can come in, use your embossing folders, all those sort of good things. You can see it just takes the edge of that corner out. So we've got those 2 pieces there that are going to go on the front, although I will be covering them up, so apologies if you are a lover of the cardstock and you don't like to see it covered up. I am going to be doing that. Now, I haven't put any decorations on these pieces here. Haven't cut any for that, because what I'm going to do is just pop an insert on them. I'm not going to show it on the video, but that's what I'll do. So those will be the 2 places. I'll probably have an insert and put Merry Christmas there, or, you know, Merry Christmas to one and all. Maybe even one of the foiled inserts from the Trimmy pad, and then maybe a little decorated piece there for whoever I need to send it to write their message, or for me to write my message, depending on where it ends up. So the glues I'm going to be using, you've just seen me use the Kalal tacky glue. I'm a crafter that uses 2 types of glue on my project, just because that's the way I work. Either of these glues will work by themselves. This just works for me when I'm making a video, so you know what it's like. But I have told, you know, I do explain it almost every time I do a video, because I do get comments. So I'm going to pop the corner to that top left hand side, and we're going to pop that out the way, and then we'll keep working our way around. And it's just started to rain here. We did have a little bit of rain yesterday. It's just like a sudden like downpour, which meant I didn't need to go out and water the garden last night, so that was really great. We were supposed to have a nice bit of rain today, so I've put loads of sort of buckets out and things to just try and catch some water, just in case we get that hose pipe ban a lot of places in the UK at the moment, because we've not had so much rain. We're currently having a hose pipe ban, just to try and preserve the water stocks. So if we could get a nice downpour today, I have got like a water butt thing in the garden. I don't think it fills up that fast. I think it's probably on the worst drain pipe, because it's off of like a tiny roof off the side of the house. There's like a little piece that comes out from the house. I feel like if it was off the main roof, it would probably fill a lot quicker. But I don't know. I didn't install it. It was done by somebody else, so I don't know how to go about moving that. Okay, so I thought, or my thoughts with this one is, I'm going to bring in, so that's decorated, sorry, that's the decorated, and I've already explained why those are left blank. So I thought it would be nice to have the whole poem on the front, or as much of the poem as we can, and then on the inside I'm going to use this tiny, the smallest Father Christmas, and I think I'm going to go with Have You Been a Naughty or Nice. So let's just grab that on. Obviously we've got the border as well there we could be using, but I think I'm just going to build it up like so. So these are going to go onto the front, so we've got that poem. And then we're going to have our Santa on the inside. So when you open it up, he's going to be there asking you, have you been naughty or nice? It does need trimming, I can see there are bits. So on the inside I'm going to go, I think I'll go flat with Santa in terms of foam pads and things. And then the sentiment I'm going to pop up on a 1mm foam pad. So I don't want it to be too high on that inside, otherwise it's going to make the card feel really chunky. So that's the thinking there. And I haven't yet sourced any envelopes for this sort of size card, so I don't know if they're going to be slightly oversized like my other one, so I'm just going to go a little bit on the safe side. Just want to try and get him central, and then we'll just pop a 1mm foam pad on here. A little bit of glue stick. We'll pop it around the right way so it can be read. And that one's in there. Okay. And then these ones, I'm going to grab some more 2mm foam pads and just pop a nice amount on the back. I'm just probably going to put 4 in the centre. I think that's going to be okay. That's okay. So Twas the Night goes on the left. That's the start of the poem. I think there's quite a few verses in this, isn't there? I have to confess. I know the first bit of the poem. I really don't know very much more about the rest of it. But I know Mum had a load of stamps, clarity stamps, and they had, I think they had the whole poem on with little images that went along with it. They're probably still here somewhere, but I might find them when I'm having my clip, you know, working on clearing things out at the moment, making space. Onto there. And then I feel like we need some gold gems. I'm not quite sure how we'll put them on. I don't know if I want to pop a little sentiment on there as well. Let me just grab my little bit of Christmas sentiments. It's an old one, so don't ask me what year it is. I'll read it a little bit here. Let's see. I want something tiny. And I may not use it. I may just that's a different red. I want something like this little ho ho ho, but Christmassy. Not Christmassy, but you know, sort of Merry Christmas, something like that. That'll work. Let's leave it as it is. I think I may add something later on, but for now we will go with this. And then let's grab some gems. I think what we're going to do is pop one in each corner. Maybe looks bigger. Let's just pop it there. Maybe go for maybe 2. Turn over your little devil. So remove those over. So the good thing about these gems is that you can sort of play with them. Yeah, I think that's that's what I'm going to do. The bad thing about this card is that it doesn't want to stay shut. Let's just pop 2 on there and 2 on the top. Apologies if you can hear my tummy. I haven't had breakfast yet. Mind you, it'd probably still make the same noise if I had. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I think, see, I like my odds, don't I? I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to have to go even today. So that is going to be our card number 1. So it looks quite cute with that there, and then you've got that. I don't know why I always do it so high. So it looks quite cute when you get the card, and then you open it up, you've got Santa in there, and you'll have your lovely messages on the inside. So that is card number 1, and I'm just going to get it set up for card number 2. Okay, so for card number 2, this long topper here, I think it kind of looks perfect for my little stepper. So I haven't done one in a hot minute, so I thought we'd have a little go with that. So let's take another piece of that 6x12 cardstock. I'm going to pop it in at the 1 inch mark on this right hand side. I'm going to put my blade at 1 inch, and I'm going to cut down to 7 inches. And the same on the other side. I'll go back from 7 to 1. And what I'll do while I've got that there, just thinking about my score lines, the one across the middle of the card is the hardest one for me to find on the scoreboard. So if I pop it in at the 6 inches, I can just put a line across that middle. Just going to make it easier for me to find that when I get the scoreboard out, which is what I'm going to do next. And this simple stepper, this sort of technique, you can apply it to lots of different cards, shapes or sizes rather. So basically what you do is you cut from 1 inch to 1 inch over where the normal fold line would be. And you know, obviously if you want it on both sides, you do it on both sides, and then you just score at 1 and 2 and at that inch over. So let's say you had a 6x8 card, you would then cut from 1 to let's say 6x8, so 1 to 9 and 1 to 9, and then you just do your score lines again. So it's really easy just to take this sort of principle and apply it to whatever size card you are making. So like I say there, I'm scoring at 1, 2 and 7 for this one, and again on the other side 1, 2 and 7. And then what I'm going to do is just find the score line with that middle piece. I put the mark in there, and I'm just going to go over it just so I get a nice deep score. Hopefully means we're all going to fold beautifully. Okay, so I'm going to start easing these into position just by gently folding. So we're going mountain, valley and mountain. And then this one obviously is a mountain as well. And it will gradually just fold down into this beautiful shape. What I would say is when you're just popping these down, if you're going over your scores with a burnishing tool like this, just make sure all of your card is lined up so it's nice and straight. Sometimes I find it does tend to try and go a little bit on the wonk, but if you just make sure you've got it all nice and flush before you burnish those down, you shouldn't have any problems. And the other thing to remember is don't forget to burnish those underscores underneath. So the ones that are going underneath, make sure you score those as well. And then you're going to end up with a beautiful little card like so. So you can have it that way if you wish. Wouldn't advise having it that way, it's just going to be a bit weird. But you've got that there, but we are going to do that as a normal stepper. So now we need to start to bring in our trimmer. So I've got a 6x6 mirror mat, and I'm going to start by taking 2 notches or 1/8 off each off one side, and then I'm going to take this two notches under the inch on that side, and that's going to be my piece that goes along the bottom there. Then I'm going to rotate that round and do 2 more pieces that are going to be 2 notches under the one. I will trim it down in a second. 2 notches under the one. And then let's do those so you don't get confused. So this is 5x1. So now I just need to take 2 notches off of that as well. And oops, no nails to pick that up. I broke my nails. Well, my nails are pretty short anyway, but those are those pieces for there. And then this piece in the middle is 4x5. So we're going to take that to 2 notches under the 4 by 2 notches under the 5. And that's going to be our piece that goes in there. So I'm going to be using both of the cardstocks for this one. Because this card, I'm probably going to put it onto a 6x6 card, maybe with a sort of sentiment or something, but I can use some of this here. So I'm going to take 3/4 of an inch just off that side, and then I'm going to cut that to 5 3/4. That's going to be my piece for there. And I'm going to take another piece, again it's going to be 3/4 of an inch. And this one is going to be 4 3/4. Again, your star embossing folder, any of those details. And then let's just see. Yeah, I can take the other one as well. So I'll take another 3/4 of an inch. And that's nearly perfectly sized for my card. So that's just used up that little odd bit that I would have left over normally. And then this piece here, I'm going to do 4 here. So this needs to be 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. So we have got a nice piece here that we could use as a mat or a layer, but that piece is going to go onto our center piece. So let's do some assembling, and then we can do some decorating. And I know it's very pretty cardstock. Let's just open that up. Now on these smaller pieces that I'm dropping on the floor, I am going to use my dotty tape pen instead of the tacky glue on the end. And that's because I'm not sure why all of a sudden, but I find sometimes that the card pops up off and isn't gluing as quick as I would like it. So by using those dots, I still do get that wiggle room time that I like, but they aren't popping off. I don't have to sort of, oh, I'm getting so dropsy. I don't have to worry that, you know, I put it on my card and then all of a sudden it's popping. I don't like that. I don't like that very much at all. So let me just pop these onto these smaller bits. Give it a press down on those ends when I'm happy. It doesn't take very much. You could probably use the solid one if you want to. I just find the dotty one is a lot easier for me to use. I don't have to worry about it sort of getting stuck. I find the dots come off perfectly well. for me. So going back to my normal glues for this big piece, it doesn't seem to affect the bigger pieces, just the smaller ones, which is random, I know. Welcome to my life. Okay, let me pop that on like so. Because you're not going to see too much of this with that topper, I don't think, but it's just nice to have something there rather than having sort of completely white background. So let's go, no, not that one. Let's go ahead and pop these on. I should also say the tacky glue does give you a little bit of wiggle room time as well. It is perfectly good glue. This is why I say you can use any of these glues. It will work perfectly well by themselves. But you know what I always say? I say if you've got a glue that works for you, then you don't need to change it. It's just this glue combination works for me. If you're having problems, then it may well work for you as well. Who knows? So when you're putting these bits on, make sure your top bit is spaced nicely. It doesn't matter so much at the bottom. Obviously you want to keep it straight down the sides, but if it's right down to the bottom, you're not going to see it, because when that goes up, even when the card's standing, you don't see where those edges are at the bottom. So the tops are the most important thing on this card, or on those pieces anyway. So let's pop this in place. There we go. That's a nice amount of glue. And this would look nice that way as well, you know, if you are using it on another card. So I love it when the borders like this can be side borders or top borders. It's really makes it very versatile. And Hunkydory are really great at doing that, you know. I mean, I know I'm on the design team, but I still did say this before that happened. I love what they do. Okay, so we've got our little Santa. Like I say, you can hardly see any of that. In fact, I might bring him down a little, just so that we can bring that in. And I think maybe we'll use we'll have to trim this with the guillotine, but let's bring this border out. Oops. And these are the gifts, the presents, however you want to say that. I think I might bring out the ho ho ho, Merry Christmas, as I always hear it in my head when I see that sort of saying. And this piece here, there's no pips on that one. Let's just pop this out. Probably going to not discard, but not use this middle frame, just for that bit of variation. But we will see. Sometimes it does really help with the design to have it, you know. I mean, that's why they give you them. Sometimes they can really lift the design. Sometimes they're just an extra bonus, depending on how you want to use them. Now, if you've got any of the little books, and like the Here Comes Christmas little book and all those sort of things, you know, those little extra frames are perfect for making your own little toppers. So what I'm going to do is just trim this down to size. So I'm just going to neaten up that edge, and then I'm going to trim it to 5 3/4. I could have done this on the other trimmer, so this could be a flag, something like that, but it's just that that little one was to hand and perfect for that. So I'm going to pop that one on flat. Actually, I think I'm just going to go with my dots, because it's going end to end. All I need to do is just line that up at one end, keep that straight. Now let's do some planning. So now we could, so we're going to see less of the design if we go that way, or we could, just trying to think of different ways that we can still see that design. No, it's going to have to be that way. It's going to have to be. If you really like that border, and what you can do, see it seems a bit lost there, so I think it might need a gold frame. And then we'll go with our ho 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 there. Okay, so let's start with some, we'll go 2mm on here, which does mean I'm going to have to snip, I'm afraid. So snip, snip. Kind of getting into Christmas crafting now. I did really like the kit that was on yesterday. So that may fall into my basket when I order. I also really like the Golden Oldies one. I did buy the kit of the original Golden Oldies, so I kind of feel like I need to do the Christmas version. So I think probably Golden Oldies will be next, unless disclaimer, unless something unbelievably heart-stoppingly beautiful comes up in the meantime, which you know what they're like. Let's just pop one there. So I'm putting a nice amount of support on here. I don't know why I'm going so over the top with it, but it will protect it in the post, so that's good. So let's just pop these off. I really did like the dies that were on today as well, but I have got something quite similar from Crafter's Companion, very similar in fact, so I don't know if I will buy them. I could really do with some snowflake dies, some Hunkydory ones, because obviously they do need to be Hunkydory products for any design team things. So you can see how messy I can get sometimes with this purple glue stick. I mean, the good thing is, let me just bring my dirty rag out. It does wipe away and it does dry clear. So it's just, I still haven't washed it yet. It really does need a wash. Okay, let's see. I think it goes that way around. Oops, excuse me. We can pop that in the centre, so apologies for covering up the design. If you are a design fan, like I say, just give that a little squidge to the left. I think that's good. And then this one I am going to go with some, oh, she says she is, oh, there we go, a little bit of tacky glue on this one just because it is so narrow. I could do it with my dots, but then it would send dots over the side, which would then get stuck to my mat, and they do come off, it's not a problem, but I just feel like it's a bit wasteful when the tacky glue will do the same job and not create such a mess for me. Still do feel like that frame is still on the wonk a little bit. Let me just give it a little shifty. Yeah, that's a bit better. Okay, sorry, I'm whispering again. So it just seems a little bit on the wonk. I don't know why it is a little on the wonk. And then we can pop that back. So just showing the wiggle room time of that tacky glue as well. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so more 2mm foam pads onto here, so you literally will not see this cardstock through. So if you like this border, maybe you want to chop that bit off and use the boring. It's not boring, it's beautiful, but the more plainer green. You might even want to keep this cardstock for something else completely and just use some adorable scoreable. I don't mean that it is boring, I honestly don't. It's just, compared to the other bit, it's not quite so showstoppery. Okay, so, talking nonsense, apologise. There we go, let's pop that one in. It's got our little Father Christmas in his place. He is there. This one, I think we need to go quite high again, so we'll go with some 2mm just to really bring it off that border. If you want something a bit more in your face sentiment wise, you could use a different sort of sentiment from the little book like I had before. You could have just a white Merry Christmas, something like that, or even one of your shaped sentiments. I haven't got the Christmas one, I've got the everyday, so I can't use that. Now let's see, gold gems again, it's got to be gold. And I think, let's move this out of the way. What do we want to do? So I think I might do, let's go with a sort of medium size one. So there are some really like huge ones. I mean, look at that, that's huge. And I'll find that same size one. You can see which ones are my favourite, can't you? And then that one will go over there. So all my cards today are even. What day is it? It's Tuesday. It's not a lorry day, so I don't need to worry too much. Let's just pop some glue. So the hardest thing about doing this sort of design with gems on a card is getting them to match up on each side. So I have put rather a lot of glue on there, but it does dry clear. So this is going to be one of those sort of fiddly ones. So let me just pop those on. And I can already see that one is quite a bit higher. Now if you want to, you can measure these out with a ruler. But I think that is going to be okay. I'll just bring in a teeny tiny dauber. Like I say, the glue does dry clear, but just will take a little bit of that away. And there. Do take a little bit more there as well. There we go. I'm going to leave it at that because if I fiddle too much, it's going to drive me mad. There we go. There is card number 2. So a cute little stepper. I'll show it that way. Got all that little bit of dimension on there. On the inside, I would do a insert to fit that 5 by 6 space. I usually leave that piece out. You could decorate it with a little bit of your leftover cardstock if you wanted to, but it doesn't look amiss if it's not. So let's bring back in card number 1. So those are the 2 cards today. Still quite a lot left on this sheet. So this was the Twas the Night. So we've still got our big Santa. We've got our little gift present there. Let me just cover those up. We've got all of that cardstock. We've got that little piece there. And of course, I've still got my foiled Santa to play with there. So there's at least 2 cards there, possibly 3 with the gift. But that's it for today's video. So thank you so much for watching. I've got one more set that I'm going to do with this Festive Joy collection. And then I'm going to move on to one of the other sets. But thank you so much for watching today. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.